The journey to finding you. Some of my most transformative realizations in this life of mine thus far have come from recognizing my ability to shift my perspective. Of course, this can be a rather tedious art to master, and oftentimes a less favored natural response to life being, well, lifey. When hurdles have felt although sky high, or my self-proclaimed flaws or differences have held me in an embrace I fear I may never escape. Over time, I've learned to lean into these canvas-altering experiences and do my best to recognize the intricate beauty that lies within these stories and hurdles. The stories and hurdles all the past versions of myself have seen it through. The beauty of the conversations that may now spark due to my understanding of these unique colours and patterns that dance upon my canvas, or even the simple chance that someone who may dread having to wear a colour similar to mine may see the beauty and the strength that this colour truly holds through my ability to wear it on my sleeve. I spent my childhood years growing up in a small Australian town where my unique appearance was few and far between. I spent most childhood birthday candles wishing on a dream to blend in, for I learned that the consequence of being different was far too exhausting for little me to bear. I did all humanly possible to water my differences down, but then became so diluted that not a trace of Anisha could be found. From the age of 16, I decided to find her again, taking the road wholeheartedly, expressing myself and embracing all I am. What a gift it is to rekindle with a version of yourself that the world demanded you forget.
Hello lovely people, it's been a little while. Oh my gosh, look at this little piece that just came off my mandarin. That is the weirdest, does it taste weird? Still fun. Anyways, hello lovely people, it's Nish. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Anisha, otherwise known as Nish or Maiden Nish. I haven't posted in a little while. I've been on a little bit of a hiatus, just getting my creative flow back. I think this eclipse season has really taken a toll. The next and final eclipse in Libra is tomorrow night here in Australia. So I'm hanging in there. I'm feeling very sensitive. I've got a day off. I'm going to paint. I'm going to talk a little bit about a topic a lot of you guys requested when I've mentioned things in the past about, what themes you'd like me to conversate about, and a reoccurring pattern that I always pick up on is surrounding the world of confidence and stepping into yourself and complete embodiment, whatever that looks like. And not so much my journey to that, I don't think I'm feeling like I'm resonating with right now. I think it's more just tips and tricks and just, I don't know, conversational little points of, surrounding that world and what it means to me. I'm going to be painting. I've started a little, I don't even know who she is, but I've started a painting a few weeks ago and I haven't had any time to get, into it more. So I thought, why not paint together, have a little chat. I've never done a video like this, so we'll see how it goes, but I'm really excited. It's going to be very casual. I'm in my art studio space right now. It's a tiny little nook, but I love it so very much. But yeah, I think I've got a few good points I'd like to just, talk about, kind of get into. I think especially given the themes that I looked into, because at my work, I work at a witchcraft store for those of you who don't know, but I noticed a lot of patterns and synchronicities in terms of the themes of, people coming through the door, what they're seeking, what they're feeling, and they always fill one out, but it's a really beautiful kind of raw environment where I can, see these patterns, and it's kind of validating, to know that I'm not the only one feeling some type of way given cosmic events. And a lot of introspection has been taking place. But yeah, this is going to test your foundation in you and, your self-belief, your relationship with yourself, and I think confidence really ties into all of these cosmic themes going on at the moment. Again, I don't know what this moon means to you, but you know, confidence is something that we all, you know, face some sort of adversity or have some sort of relationship we need to build, yeah, with that theme throughout our lives in some shape or form. Anyways, I've already started chit-chatting. I'm going to set up my paints and then we can begin. I think a nice place to start God, I'm running out of white paint. A good place to start is talking about the strength that we can find in our differences and the flaws that the world cast upon us, in terms of so many things that we see as these weaknesses or these things that make us lesser can be transmuted into some of our greatest strengths. And I know that's something you've probably heard before, and it sounds a lot easier than it actually is to achieve, and that can be very true. I'm still on that journey daily, but I think it's so special when we lean into our individuality, because our stories, our experiences, the good, the bad, you know, the childhood memories, everything has built us into such individual people with with such tales, such different perspectives. We're all woven together by these experiences, and you know, no two people can be the same. And I think the second that you realize that that's a strength, because gosh, I think there's nothing more beautiful than someone that is so authentically them and wearing their truth, whether that's through expression and the way they dress or the way they express themselves. And I know in an online world where there's so much of this formula that's really copy and paste, I think it's so refreshing when somebody is just wholeheartedly them, and you can see the joy behind their eyes when they're in a state of complete embodiment. But yeah, I think that's something that I definitely had to learn quite young, given where I live. For those of you who don't know, I'm from a small Australian town. And yeah, being, you know, who I am now, expressing myself the way I do quite boldly, and even just, you know, the way I look, and given my heritage and my background, these were always things that put me in this outcastish kind of box from the get-go. So why not lean into it a little bit? You learn to befriend all of these angles of yourself over time in a way that you may just be forced to, and even, you know, faking it till you make it kind of mentality unfortunately does come into play sometimes. In school, my sister and I were, being the way we look, we're half African, our mum's Irish descent, but we were born in Australia, and our natural hair is like huge afros, which I'm still on that journey to loving that side of me. But yeah, just given the way we looked, just caused a lot of attention in the wrong ways. We were severely bullied by people from kindergarten to the teachers. The principal was even a bit of a piece of work. People just always tested us, I guess, and we had that angle of life shown to us quite prematurely. And you do grow thick skin, like I was saying. That's another story for another time, because that's a lot to unpack. But yeah, it's so special when you can change that perspective and see it as a strength and a beauty to be able to, you know, transmute those differences into your power. But over time, as we found ourselves and like just allowed ourselves to be, some of these people that did pick on us are now the ones that reach out and, you know, try and let the world know that they knew us in some shape or form, or just try to totally dismiss all the heartache and hurt that they did put us through. Which, you know, I am one to forgive and forget in some shape or form, but those wounds do cut deep. And there's no two ways around that. But yeah, that's another journey of, you know, healing and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think all in all, first little thing I wanted to touch on was being able to see these differences and these flaws as something that can be to your advantage. A little tip and an exercise that I used to like to practice, and I still do, if you are feeling a little bit detached from yourself, or even if you just need a little bit of reminder of how beautifully intricate and unique you are, and the beauty of that. Anyways, a little exercise I like to practice is to get a journal. If you have a journal or some paper, you can even do this in your notes app, and just write a list. Just write a list of the things that make you you. I start it off with the headings usually, who is Nish, who is insert your name, and write a little list of the things, your likes, your dislikes, your inspirations, your favorite movies, your favorite food. Just a list of the things that make you feel all toasty and warm inside, even the things you dislike, because they are so unique as well. Write a list of your favorite clothing items, your favorite perfumes, your favorite smells, ignite all the senses, all your senses, and write down the things that make you you. And that list is such a beautiful visual aid to be able to see how all of your stories, your likes, even those little fragments of the childhood you who still reside within, as so have just made you up to be the person you are. And that can be such a beautiful, refreshing take, a visual take on just seeing this side and this angle. But yeah, you can do this whenever. I like to do it when I'm feeling particularly down, or just wanting a little bit of a boost in confidence, because I think it's so special when we give ourselves a little bit of nurturance in that sense. But yeah, and it's nice to look back on these. I have a good few of these documented from over the years, and it's nice to look back and see, how far you've come, your growth in terms of maybe something you disliked. 2 years ago, you come to a place where you change, even if that's as small as a food. I used to hate capsicum and coriander, and now they're like my favorite things ever. It's nice to just get little glimpses of this evolution. But yeah, that's a nice little exercise, a little tip. It's very simple, but I think it's quite beautiful and profound in its own way. Next topic, next little thing I wanted to touch on is the significance of finding your people, and finding people who wholeheartedly care for you and love you and allow you to exist in the space of where you are. Friendships can be rather challenging, and they are again one of the most foundational relationships within our world, sometimes even more significant than romantic relationships. Our platonic friendships and the people we have around us have this almost a different sense of vulnerability and different sense of understanding a lot of the time. And I think it's easy to downplay how much the effect of those around you can have on, your self-esteem, your self-worth, the way you view yourself. You sometimes shrink yourself or dilute yourself because someone else has made you, or because you feel like that's what you need to do to fit in with this particular crowd or circle of people. And I've done that myself a lot through my teenage years, even still learning lessons, in recent years. I'm sure it's something that will be an ongoing theme, because these patterns and tests do show up, like I was saying earlier, until we learn from them, or at least can recognize what they're trying to teach us in some shape or form. You'll find that you'll keep finding yourself in these dynamics or relationships or around these people that kind of eventually test you in a similar way to what you've known before, which is always super unfortunate when you come to that realization that maybe the people that you've allowed into your world haven't had your back wholeheartedly. So yeah, protecting your peace is super important, but when you do find those friendships and those dynamics, you should be, it took me a while to realize that, oh my god, that it is possible to leave these hangouts and these, group interactions, or even just one-on-one, feeling energized, feeling inspired, feeling seen, feeling heard, and not feeling like you can't just come as you are. You should always be comfortable to be who you are entirely without any sort of adjusting. And when you do find those people around you who support you, who listen to you, who encourage you, who show up, a reciprocal friendship is one that will be long lasting. And I often notice and found myself in friendships where they're very one-sided. And it can be so crazy when you have that snap realization that, oh my gosh, this friendship has not at all been what I've made it out to be. I've never had an ounce of support from this person. They've never encouraged me. I've always been there whenever they've got this new, adventure or endeavor or this new dream or aspiration. I've always found myself to be the one there and wholeheartedly ready to do whatever I can to encourage and instill belief in this person. And then I just always settled for not ever getting that in return, and it's like, oh, that's just our dynamic. And I was wavering it off until my partner Mason was like, I don't think that person's ever been your best friend. because best friends don't do that. And it wasn't just that, but there was many, you know, a multitude of things. And sometimes when you look back and dissect, you'll be able to see that there's these patterns of, this happens a lot of the time, people like to see you happy, but not happier than them. And you're able to be successful to an extent, but not more successful than them. And these sorts of friendships and dynamics can be so tiring and exhausting, and they're so toxic. And even if that does mean chopping your circle in half or eventually watching people drop off, a lot of the time when you're on this journey to finding yourself and this evolution of stepping into your wholehearted embodiment, you know, people don't like that. And the people who don't like that may be the people you least expect. Because people do get uncomfortable with the idea of you evolving. I'm not saying you become stuck up or a snob, it could just be as simple as you receiving more wins or more recognition for what you're doing and putting out there. And there's going to be people that don't like that. And when these friendships drop off or things change, it's only room for the people who are more better aligned to show up. And the universe will most definitely provide. Sometimes it takes time. If you're there right now, I promise you, you know, the more you work on yourself and the more that you fill your cup and, you know, have that energy that you're pouring and overpouring into all of these other people's lives, this energy shift is now in your hands and you can create and cultivate what you please. Just work wholeheartedly on you and live your life for you. You should always be able to do that. And again, that comes with building that relationship with yourself. But yeah, you will eventually find those people and they're out there, sometimes in smaller numbers, sometimes you get lucky and strike gold. People who receive you for who you are your people. And that's a journey sometimes, but hang in there because it will always be worthwhile at the end of the day. Okay, the next theme, which I think is a pretty important one, and one that's overlooked. This whole video isn't going to be about, you know, these are some great things to do. It's about getting uncomfortable. To get something you've never had, you've definitely got to do something you've never done before. And that also requires looking at these sorts of themes from all angles, even the ones that we like to avoid. So yeah, in honor of that statement, the next thing I want to talk about is forgiveness and forgiving ourselves. All of those, you know, ugly things that we try and forget or we sit up at night reliving in our minds. Yeah, the second I changed my thoughts around that matter to, you know, an angle of appreciation, I recognised that version of me did the best they could with what they were equipped with. Essentially, all the hardships and the hurdles we get through in life only add another tool to our belt, and as much as those hardships and hurdles are things we wish we never went through, they equip us with this new understanding and overall a new tool. When you put it into this perspective, that past version of you was doing all they could with the tools that they had handy, and they saw you through. You're out the other end. I think we owe them a little thank you sometimes rather than beating them up. Gentleness is something that, you know, we so easily offer to other people around us, but when it comes to ourselves, we're the toughest critics. And yeah, once you're able to say thank you, even if you just say thank you now, thank you to that past version of you and that version of you that got you through, because sometimes all you have to do is simplify it to that. They saw you through the other end and you're here with another tool, you're equipped with more knowledge, and that can be a beautiful thing. Cringing at past versions of ourselves also can be a good sign, because if you're uncomfortable with that situation or that idea, it just proves that that's something that you've learned from, or something that you wish never happened, because now you understand that it's something that you don't want. And instead of trying to find a way to go back and undo it, because that's never going to happen, I think some of us forget that that's the case. All we have is right now. And it's a really hard concept for our little brains to grasp. But yeah, I think just allowing that gentle approach for that past version, and also, you know, just trying to tune out of what's ahead and just focus on setting yourself up. And we don't know what is to come, and we can't do anything about what has happened. So letting go and being a little bit gentle on both of those topics and both of those ends of the scale will only lead to more space in your mind for you to focus and heal and grow and evolve in who you are now. Well, that brings me to the end of the video. I hope you got a little bit of something out of that. It just felt nice to kind of chat and express my thoughts surrounding this topic. yeah, like I said, I'll probably go into a bit more of an in-depth video in terms of my personal journey. But for now, yeah, I hope that was a little something for you to get your brain ticking, or just to let you know that it's all going to be alright and you're on the right track. But yeah, thanks for joining me for a little paint, a little tea sip and a hangout. My name's Nish. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you feel called to. I am very grateful that you joined me. Take care. I'll see you next time.